Hi, it's Hazel and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. In the past, when I've done a flip through of the UpperCase Encyclopedia of Inspiration volumes, as I acquire them, you said that you loved them and you'd like to see more. So that's what we're doing. I just picked this up from the post office the other day. And this, the only bad thing about these things is that it is so fresh and so hot off the press that the ink smell sort of goes straight to my head. This one is called Glue. Now, if you have seen these books in the past, you are probably familiar with the notion that it comes with this sort of a slip cover that has different possibilities for how the dust jacket sort of aspect of it. I happen to like the one that it came with, so that's what we'll stick with. But if I wanted to change it up, of course I could. Now, I have many of the other titles. A few years ago when I was having, maybe it'll be simpler since, it's pristine. A few years ago when I had a sort of one of those milestone birthdays, I asked my peeps if they would buy me the encyclopedia. And they did. Well, the issues in that are the ones I selected out of a bundle. Okay, so just as a way of, again, if you've never heard of UpperCase, oh my goodness, you need to run over to the website. This is a Canadian, in fact, an Alberta company, a one-woman show. Janine Van Gool is the brains behind the operation. And if you have a question or need to email her something, she answers her own emails and, kind of tongue-in-cheek says, I'm customer service too, so she does everything. There is a newsletter you can sign up for that, has a lot of visual imagery. Her products are not cheap. She also does a quarterly? October, November, December. Yeah, quarterly magazine. Now, I just got one. It's not within reach though. Anyway, let's look through Glue. So, again, I hate to break the spine. Curation and book designed by Janine. She's based out of Calgary. And basically, on her website, there are, I love poppies. There are always calls for submissions. So depending on what is coming up either in the magazine or in the next book she's doing, if a person, and there are contributors from around the world, if the person, obviously, if what they're suggesting meets the criteria, they get into the book. Now, okay, what are we saying here? Maybe I'll just highlight some of the pull quotes. My work has a joy and hopefulness to it, and sometimes a childlike exuberance. I return to many themes and images, especially trees, the sun, and people. So, I made my first large collage from magazine paper when I couldn't afford oil paint, and I've since come to love all forms of paper cutting and collage. So, is this book talking to us or what? Look at these old brushes. Who among us hasn't ruined a bunch of brushes, especially these wider ones like house painting brushes? I prefer materials that are considered trash and that would otherwise end up in landfills. I'm very interested in the variety of plastic conglomerates since we are so overrun with plastics. My favorites at the moment are acrylic paint scraps, which I peel off my pallets and containers. Oh my goodness, I've done that too, because that's such lusciousness. And of course, it is a plasticized product when it's dried on your pallet. Food packaging and marine debris, microplastics. All of these have vast color palettes and force the artwork to become brighter and more textured than when just using paint. Look, this portrait, all done with golf tees, fibers. That looks like, oh, I don't know. I was going to say buttons, but I don't know what those round things are, but looks like broken glass. Oh, look at how gigantic that is. She's working standing up. Oh, my rule as a muralist is to stand back from the piece, 30 plus feet. I don't know whether you know that I painted a mural once for the hospital. Okay, I'm not going to try to say that, but obviously this woman is from Poland. A single fragment can spark a new collage or even an entire series. So you can see that her style is way more graphic. Oh my goodness, the smell of ink. But you can see what she says, it starts a series. And don't think necessarily that that's any easier to do than the regular collage. Okay, this guy is from Montreal. A piece is finished when it refuses to let you add anything further. Well, looks like he's got a bunch of wings happening here. Professional life as an art director and graphic designer. 30 years experience working in New York. Okay, this doesn't speak as much to me as some of the other pieces have. But, of course, there is something to learn from every single artist. The materials often lead the process, so an openness, playfulness, and trust in the process are helpful. This isn't exactly my cup of tea either. It's more like color blocking. And of course, one of the, I guess on the magazine, she always uses these little red labels to, like in this case, the woman's handles are there. Contact info is there. Okay, do we know? Scissors allow for bold changes and quick decision. They hold the power of both destruction and creation. They don't allow for intricate, overly detailed results, at least the way I use them. So it looks like this. Now, I think there is a volume in the encyclopedia that is strictly on collage. Somehow I thought it would, and maybe it's still coming, I thought it would be more like about the actual types of adhesives. This woman is from Mumbai. I get inspired by what I do. The more work I do, the more motivated I feel. Doing work that excites me is my driving force. Can you imagine being young enough and flexible enough to be sitting cross-legged on the floor doing your art? Maybe back in the day, but uses a lot of black. I also think that when I've sat like that in the past, sometimes it almost feels as though my hip wants to pop out of its socket. I work a lot in series. I decide on a format or color theme or topic and make a lot of pieces. The 100-Day Project is a huge favorite and has really helped me grow as an artist. I have an ongoing series of collaged hearts. Every year in January, I do a project to start off the year. This year I created 50 cards using a uniform color scheme. I'm a big believer in creating a body of work or a series. It has helped me tremendously to hone my art and develop my intuition. I don't know, maybe I'm weakening. That thing that I just read you makes me who are these people? I guess they're just friends. That comment just makes me remind myself that I have been seriously considering taking on a 100-day project. But of course, when I was thinking about that, when I was on my retreat in Canmore, and I counted back the days, I realized that, I'd be going into 2026. So I don't know. It seems like timing is a bit of an issue for me. We love finding and using materials we already have. Well, amen. When we started working together, part of our manifesto was to not buy new things, and we truly try not to. But just like magpies, sometimes we are inspired and excited by shiny new materials. Oh, look at this, a giant gumball machine. Isn't that cute? Okay, Carter Ferguson. I prolong the life of an object that may not seem extraordinary in its own right, but once enshrined in an artwork to tell a story, it ideally has a forever home. Is that the interior of a sea can? Okay, what have we got here? I'm not sure. Oh, these look like coasters. There's a yardstick, so it's not as big as I thought it was. You know, one of the things I absolutely love about books like this is that you could sit here for half an hour. I won't, but I could sit here for half an hour looking at everything that he's got there. And that's not even that great a picture. Look at those plaid shirts. I implement numerous ways of holding my pieces together. I use Gorilla Super Glue, Mod Podge, resin, and wallpaper paste for paper and fabric. I also use an assortment of screws, nails, staples, and tacks to secure more rigid materials. String, wire, and fishing line are also very handy. And finally, I just sandwich materials together by pressure and force. Cool. Cool, cool. Okay, Chris C. McIntyre. New Jersey-based collage and mixed media artist. Wow. This streetscape is all collage. If you start collage with the idea that it's going to be relaxing and meditative, I think anyone will enjoy the process. And I amen to that. I like to inject a little humor here and there. Life can't be taken too seriously. I guess that's the reference to Slow Kittens. I use a pH neutral glue to piece the whole thing. Then I coat it in a UV protective varnish. And then if I'm working on a wooden cradle board, I coat it with a resin called liquid glass. If it's going behind glass in a frame, I skip that step. Very detailed. Clip art. I love magazines, particularly design magazines. When I look at a picture of an area rug, for example, there are so many colors in that one rug. And then when I cut that rug into little squares, every square is like a little abstract painting. And because each little square has so many colors, the finished piece is unique with a lot of depth. A collage starts with my photographs. I decide what scene I'm going to create. I print it out to the desired size. I then trace the basic outline onto the paper or the board so I get the angles right. And then it all begins with one square. I just start gluing pieces down. Now, see, she's saying squares, but I wonder if she really means squares. She's been working in this medium for 13 years. Mentally, she's addicted to it. It almost seems like she uses squares. One day, thinking about tiles, because I love tiles, I started cutting up a magazine into little squares and then gluing them down on paper. I thought to myself, I might just have something here. There's something about the simplicity of cutting paper and gluing it down that I love. There is zero technology involved. I don't need fancy equipment. It's just me, the paper, and the glue. My work is photorealistic but quirky. Okay, let's keep going. I kind of promised myself that oh, look at this. I kind of promised, and I am compelled to try to figure out, oh, where did that paper come from? Oh, where did that paper come from? I feel compelled, I'm already at 15 minutes and not nearly anywhere through the book, that I wouldn't go longer than 30 minutes of this. Okay, Claire Young's. My style is colorful, fun, full of texture and patterns with a nod to mid-century design and illustration, which I love. So there's a hen, there's a cat. Again, a 100-day project. Oh, she decided to make a collage of an articulated animal each day for 100 days. Articulated. Look at those guys. Those are pretty darn cool. Don't be too precious. Be open to experimentation. Try new things and just get right in there. I think the best work happens when you don't think too hard, when you let go and see what happens. I'm not a very organized person, but I have really made an effort to make my studio as organized as possible within the limits of it being quite a small space. I thought there were going to be some real storage tips there, but apparently not. She's still figuring it out. Claudia K. Lee. There's always a story behind the work, and each piece is many-layered with detail and meaning. It is important to me to create a feel-good space for positivity. Well, that seems very on the dark side for positivity, but anyway, we'll see. My interest in collage was sparked by the boxes of scraps of handmade papers, many of which were used for a variety of surface design techniques. Oh, so she would have been a early in her professional life, a textile designer and weaver, and worked on a loom for many years. One day she saw someone making paper, and, well, I guess that was the beginning of the end. Oh, those are cute little things. So these are kind of three-dimensional. Cool. Love those. Look at those spools of thread. The more I work, the more new ideas pop up. Work is like priming the pump. That was what Zig Ziglar said. And of course, he was a master salesman. I keep my studio journal handy and make detailed notes, drawings, and lists of resources. I might glue in materials that I want to use, as well as color samples and anything that might prove useful and jog new ideas. My journal accompanies me to bed, as I often get ideas at odd hours. I have a stack of journals dating back 20 years, and it's always interesting to go through them and maybe give new life to old ideas. Again, the voyeur in it. Let's see, she's making paper. The voyeur in me wants to stare in everybody's studio space. Art is a joy, solace, and companion, and it is who I am. Dorian Lange. This is kind of assemblage type of work. Those look like they're done in cigar boxes. The best mindset for making collage and assemblage is that anything goes. You just spill out the contents of your art and mind in that particular point in time. I use Aleene's tacky glue and Scotch lay flat glue sticks to adhere most things. Metal pieces require E6000, but I hope to start using a Dremel because I value my brain cells. Even working outdoors and masked, I still smell the fumes. I love my scissors. They are the basis of everything I do. They are ubiquitous. They are uncomplicated, and they do just what I need them to do. Oh, you guys, this book is so great. Okay. Felicia Daddick from Massachusetts. Lee, Massachusetts. The past is valuable and a rich resource of inspiration. That polka dot dress and that toaster go hand in hand. Can you just see where this is going? Oh, maybe not going where I thought it was going. Oh, look how cool that is. To quote Sister Corita Kent, consider everything an experiment. I also think it's important to play. That is, make art like you did when you were a kid, exploring and having fun, and try not to take it too seriously or judge yourself or worry about what the point of it might be. Just be in the moment and enjoy it. If it doesn't come out the way you envisioned, it's okay. Just keep going. I have old cutlery. I use Yoo-hoo glue sticks, spray adhesive, tape, and acrylic medium. It depends on the size and type of collage I'm working on. Music is my favorite tool. I couldn't create without it. I have various collage-specific playlists that I listen to when I'm working. I think collage artists are like DJs, taking existing materials and remixing them to create new competitions. I feel like a repository for old paper that would otherwise be thrown out. Oh, isn't that cool? And look at all these old magazines here. I've got a stack like that. Fiona McTaggart. How beautiful. And I love poppies. Okay, my patterns offer soothing escape from the stresses of modern life and offer a reminder of nature's healing power. She lives in Dorset, the United Kingdom. Look at that poppy. My favorite tools are scissors and maybe the squeegee. Scissors are my drawing pencil. Without them, my work would be entirely different. As for the squeegee, it's so much fun creating color combinations and textures with this magical tool. So that looks like the squeegee for screen printing. Yeah, screen printing process. That poppy gets me every time. Symbolism. Exploring symbolism and narrative in my work has led me to explore various themes within nature. For instance, one of my son's life-giving medications, whatever that is derived from foxglove. And yet foxglove is poisonous. The therapeutic properties of nature, its healing power, and the connections between plants and people continue to inspire and intrigue me. Boy, she has those poppies down to an art, down to a science. Is that a rutabaga? I'm slightly embarrassed to admit it, but I only use Pritt stick. It works instantly and allows for flexibility during the creative process. I'm not entirely sure about its longevity, but that's less of a concern when it comes to my digital patterns. I think Pritt sticks are only available in Europe. Haley Perry. Oh, look how beautiful that is. Fiber art pieces. 4th generation rug hooking artist who pursued abstract painting in college. Collage is about play and problem solving. As a daughter of a rug hooker, I've always been drawn to the tactile nature of collage. I need to keep an eye on the time. 24 minutes. I might have to do my old trick. Oh, look at it. Is that just rolled up? to me that looks like just narrow folds, narrow strips of fabric rolled into like jelly rolls. Lately, my work has been about organizing confusing and disparate pieces to make a cohesive composition. I generally use matte, medium, and stitching to keep my pieces together. Oh, lovely. Okay, I think I might have to start from the back and go a little faster. Oh, so I have notions. I think I have rag and pulp. I have art supplies, yarn, thread, and string. I have ceramics. I have vintage life. I have ephemera. I have botanica and feed sack. I might have Stitchillo. Glue is what holds the words together. Probably holds the world together too. So, you know, some of this is kind of more appealing to me than others, but that is the way of the world. And I like to think that I'm open-minded enough to learn from everybody. I'm a poet and musician. I want poetry and music in my art and song in my poetry, color and poetry in my music. I think he might have said that once before. I use basic white craft glue, double-sided tape, and yarn techniques, embroidery, and crochet. See, I love looking at pages like this. That is cool, cool, cool. And again, these are all things that many of us are doing in one form or another. We just don't have the global success to show for it yet. I always try to see beyond the original purpose of the object and combine materials in unexpected ways. Wow. Just as a painter has their paints, my palette is my extensive collection of colorful fabrics, joyful novelty and conversation prints, and surface-designed fabrics. Wowza. Fusible interface. Textile collage is not recognized as much as other mixed media collages. But it is, maybe that's a way to use up some more of my fabrics. A playful and intuitive mindset is best for making a collage. Selecting various designs from different sources to put together requires an open mind and asking what ifs. Wow. What's going on here? Pressed plants, landscape layers. The problem with reading from back to front is that the story doesn't exactly unfold as it should. My favorite glue for all collage is Liquitex matte gel medium with a little water added. For works where I stitch the pieces onto the linen substrate, I love using the very precious vintage linen thread that has been handed down to me from my mother-in-law from her female ancestors. My ancestry is predominantly Scottish, so the linen from Scotland is the most meaningful for me to use. When I begin making new work, I always approach it as a fresh, unfolding process. You may begin heading in one direction, but find yourself going in a whole different way in the end. Collage so often relies on happy accidents. Seize them and elaborate on them. Two dissonant notes can inspire an entire symphony. My collages are done with archival quality Line Co. neutral pH adhesive, white liquid permanent PVA adhesive that dries clear, so I can be a little sloppy or slightly change the position of a section without damaging what's already glued. That sounds kind of appealing. If I had to identify a recurring theme, I suppose I would say it's my own personal alchemy, trying to turn grime into glitter. That's cool. I'm a great believer in putting something away and coming back to it. Fresh eyes make better judgments. If I'm tired, then I will tend to overwork something. You can always add, but it's much harder to take away. That's nice. Okie dokie. Maybe blue is a favorite color here. Collage is essential to my well-being. When I have days without this process of using my hands, cutting and sticking, it really does have a negative impact on me. Creating paper collages allow me to enter a state of flow. What's great with collage is that wherever one looks, there's inspiration. It can be looking at paintings in books or in a gallery, but it can also be the structure and texture of a wall, for example, or even of the ground. Okay, let's go a little faster. That's a dark. I never called myself an artist. I just liked to make stuff, and I tried making lots of different stuff. Spinning, weaving, sewing, knitting, making paper, binding books, collage, and printmaking. I never painted, drew, or made pottery because that's what actual artists did. And really, there is only so much time in a day. What evolved was a practice based on paper that I could compose like a quilt or a tapestry, but without all that pesky measuring. Collages can be small and portable and fit into motherhood. Beauty doesn't have to be quiet. It can be bold. It can take up space. It can be strong and unapologetic. My creative philosophy: stay curious, use what you have, and don't be afraid to play. Honestly, shouldn't that be tattooed on one's forehead? I love decoupage for its immediacy. It can completely transform a piece using accessible materials, and it is a process that's easy to learn but endlessly expressive. I want a printer's tray. Pretty hard without thrifting it, though. Life is either daring adventure or nothing. Is either a daring adventure or nothing. Helen Keller. And I don't know when you'll see this, but I will just say that when I did my announcement video and that thrift haul the other day, I should have said, people, I've got 2 haul videos scheduled and in the lineup. So it's not like I've already broken my cold turkey decision to quit thrifting, at least for the time being. Cut a piece to how you think it should be and use it. Don't keep recutting or trimming away. Put it down and move on. Know that whatever happens, it will turn out beautiful. What you seek is seeking you. That's a Rumi quote. I let each piece be what it wants to be. Collage is the perfect medium for people who are trying to fight perfectionism. Well, that's good to know. Look how tiny these are. Play. Be open to things ending up but not quite how you imagined or expected. Be open to moving things around until the image sings to you. I mostly use glue sticks, occasionally PVA, sometimes tape to hold smaller things together, and sometimes adhesive putty, that blue tack stuff, so that it's repositionable and a little lifted off the surface. I prefer the look of layers with small shadows rather than everything looking flat. My favorite tools are my craft knife with interchangeable blades and my tiny and very sharp surgical scissors, legacy from her days in a lab, and a good pair of tweezers. Everything is done by hand. Well, you can see why she would need tweezers. Oh. And look at that. She even had, the flowers even match the letter. Tulip, poppy, lily, geranium. Graphic, joyful, colorful, quirky, and surprising. More grungy feel. One of those print trays. Hunting for treasure. Mining the past. Life is multi-layered, just as my collages are. Collage can be exciting, but also meditative. Allow for the possibility of both or either. She's wearing a girdle. Look at the color. The artist is not a special kind of person. Rather, each person is a special kind of artist. Why don't you embroider that on a cushion? Creating art is essential for my mental well-being. Kind of interesting that there are several men in this book. Look at that cool store, that paper joint. Where does this guy live? Oh, he created it, but where? Melbourne. No wonder I've never come across it. Okay. Patience is a great asset when I work on my art. Collage can be meditative and calming process, an absolute boon for mental health. Gravitating towards the abstract helps get away from original source material or context. It is important to make it your own. Well, and that's true, you know, for people who are inclined to copy. When making collages, I'm open to what the material suggests. This approach allows me to associate disparate materials and elaborate new grammar for unexpected messages. Ooh, this is fancy. Oh, this is digital. Or some of it is digital. Collage offers a vast opportunity to train your decision-making skills. Have a basic plan, but let it change if it needs to. Be ready to make your own decision to reach the goal of a cohesive work. You know, doing this video with all this reading probably wasn't the smartest idea I've had. Today is a Wednesday, and I'm going to be interviewing Judy Hurst in about an hour and a half. I guess I should rest my voice. Okay, look at that button card. What are we doing here? No other artist has my thought process, sense of design, and color. My collages fit my personality. Spirited introvert. I enjoy quiet, peaceful activities. When I need to regroup, my studio is where you will find me, either making a piece of art or sewing on a quilt. Since I suffer from anxiety, all of the above calms my mind and adds a sense of play to my day. Boy, Jonna, look at those trinkets. This person uses Zig two-way glue and Fabri-Tac. St. Louis, Missouri. Oh, this is cool. Oh, that's just corrugated cardboard. Being able to give yourself permission to change your mind is paramount to collage. For me, one of the joys is starting out with an idea and watching it change to perhaps something completely different than what I had planned. The hurdle of flexibility and non-judgment of your own decisions is a beautiful result of collage. That is so beautiful. And look, well, it is three-dimensional. I use Aleene's Ultimate Glue. It dries fast and very hard. When I hold a piece of paper in place, it will dry at whatever angle I held it. This adds to the 3D effect of the assemblage. Those are beautiful. We can all take simple supplies and make something beautiful. That's what I love most, taking beautiful images of nature and putting them together to make beautiful art. It is pure joy. And for those people who love butterflies, look at that explosion of butterflies. She lives in Pittsburgh. Patience is the word. Looks like this, found poems. When inspiration strikes, I follow it where it wants to go. Those in the know find effective relief in small daily doses of wonder and awe. Oh, she lives in Montana. Oh, that's embroidery. That's embroidery. I use a variety of adhesives to create my paper collages depending on the thickness and type of paper I'm layering with and how impatient I am for it to dry. Anything from rice glue to matte medium. I avoid plastic-based glues where possible. Apart from anything else, they are inclined to leave a shiny mark that might be on view when the paper is dry. I layer and glue onto heavier weight smooth watercolor paper to avoid wrinkles. Once completely glued, I will cover my work with a thin silicone applique sheet. And a pile of books. The silicone sheet is a great tool to have on hand because it will simply peel away if any excess glue comes out from beneath a piece of paper, and the glue just rubs off the sheet. Okay, so that she's just saying that's a protective thing to have between that and the weight that is flattening it. British born. Collage is a way to layer and connect with the past and present. Okay, this is how much is left. So I'm sure I'm over the 30, but let's go through it. I find collage in new places all the time, in quilts and woodworking, and walls of peeling paint, piles of decaying leaves, trash. I see collage in an accumulation of objects on my desk or kitchen table. Now, are we not the luckiest people on earth to be able to do this? Don't be precious. There's truly no shortage of materials. Let's just look around us. And there will always be interesting ways that scraps of paper can fit together. Sketchbook practice. Because the way I work is so intuitive and because play is so important to achieve this mindset, I've developed a sketchbook practice by which I warm up each day through experimentation. This way of working freely primes my creativity. Apart from this, I'm also fascinated by the act of dividing up images into countless parts, then reassembling them into new stories. This is truly the beauty of collage. So these are 3D as well. For collages on paper, I mostly use a good glue stick that has a strong bond and is archival. Japanese rice paste, acrylic matte medium gel. I think it is impossible to be creative without your personality or soul showing through. I certainly process my thoughts and fears through my pieces. Okay, what do we have going on here? Oh, it looks like painty papers that just playing, no measurements or rules. I can't tell what those are. Buttons? Brads? I'm not sure. Rolled up pieces. Oh, is this paper quilling? There's always more beneath the surface, another way to see and something worth saving. Okay, guys, I have to end here. Collage encourages me to look at the world in a fresh new way. Oh, those are just sequins. Collage making is often a treasure hunt of sorts. Serendipity and chance definitely play a role in my work. Nothing is ever completely premeditated with collage, and you never know when or where you'll happen upon a particularly great image. I love the thrill of the hunt in that sense. Maybe we can end on that page. I can't imagine not being an artist and not collaging. I've glued my life together around these things. Making art is my purpose, and I'm very fortunate to have built a business around it. She's from the UK. So we'll end on this image. Thanks so much for being here, guys. And if this hasn't inspired you, well, then maybe just take your pulse and see if you are still truly breathing. Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.